3, 2, 1. All right, folks, welcome back. Welcome back. My name is Raul Fernandez, Select Board Member and Chair of the Small Business Development Committee. Here with you once again with our phenomenal team. We are returning after a month-long hiatus for our 19th virtual town hall meeting for Brookline small businesses and nonprofits. Excited to welcome you back. Just a little bit of housekeeping. Our next virtual town hall will be on Thursday, October 1st. Going forward, we're planning on meeting now once a month, which will be the first Thursday of the month, okay? We'll, of course, meet more frequently if there are any major developments, such as changes to the state's reopening plan. But for the time being, we'll continue to hold that monthly meeting, all right? This morning, we've got a very short time with our Health Commissioner, Dr. Swani Jett, with us again to provide some updates and answer any questions you may have. So welcome, Dr. Jett. I will say this much. We've got Dr. Jett only until about 9:15. He's got another meeting to go to. So if you do have any questions for him, go ahead and start putting those in the Q&A now so we can make sure we have those addressed before he goes. Dr. Jett, how's it going?
Hey, good morning. I know everybody has a busy schedule. I'm looking at some of the people on the panel today. But I guess you want me to go ahead and just start and give you where we're at in terms of numbers. But let me say this first before I talk about COVID. I've been very impressed by the business community ability to adapt to COVID. I've loved seeing the outdoor seating. I know sometimes the process is long to get it vetted, but some of the outdoor seating is very creative and innovative. And so I've been very impressed by that. I've also haven't received many complaints about people not wearing face masks or not following the proper protocols of COVID. So, I want to congratulate and thank the business community for that because that helped us do our job a lot better. Our COVID numbers right now, we still on the lower end of the state. We probably average somewhere about 1.5 or 1 case per day, sometimes 2 cases per day. So that's significantly lower when you look at other communities. And I think primarily some of the reasons is still that people are adhering to the face mask. Our cases now is still under 500, which is pretty good when you look at surrounding communities such as Newton, Cambridge, and Boston. One of the things I will add, recently, I decided to include face shields and amend the public health advisory. And one of the reasons is, and I think that, this will help the community overall, is that I noticed some businesses were struggling with asking people about why you're not wearing a face mask, or, asking them in the appropriate way about wearing a face mask. And, I was told that there was some HIPAA concerns and requiring people to wear face masks or even to ask the question. And so me and Pat Maloney, actually, we talked about this. I mean, it's hard to believe this is September. We actually talked about this in June in implementing something. And so, I waited until the appropriate time when I thought, we were going to have an influx of students back into the community and our compliance levels were going to go down. So, I have seen instances in certain businesses where an employee asked somebody to wear a mask, and these individuals just said, I don't have to wear a mask, I got a medical condition. And I was sort of alarmed by that because some people that I saw that were claiming they had a medical condition, they actually looked like bodybuilders, and they were fairly young, and so it made me very curious. Are people skating around the mask requirement by claiming they have a medical condition? And should we allow this to occur is the question, because you can't ask anybody if they have a medical issue, what is it? But you can require a shield. And by that, then you would stop the potential for the spread of a disease, because my guess is there's a lot of people that might have a medical condition that, they feel they can't wear a mask too close to their face because it prohibits them or obstructs their breathing. But having a face shield, even though, you have to be careful with the type of face shields that you get, but at least you have something for the immediate cough, for the immediate sneeze, and you have some type of guard. And it's easily washable, and you can use it multiple times. So, and I know you can find it in locally for, $5 or on Amazon. And there's people that's making face shields as well. So that's one of the things I'm hoping it can help the business community overall. And you won't have to face some of the challenges of people skating around, not wearing any type of mask. And so, with that, one of the other issues that has come up recently, and I had the opportunity to talk to Kara, and I would talk to Dan Billin, the building commissioner, is we have a lot of apartment buildings and places of business where they're now seeing younger people coming in not wearing masks. And so they want signs posted in the elevators and some of the public areas. So we're trying to find a creative way in order to do that, but any assistance that we can get from the business community would be greatly appreciated. So I open it up to anybody if they have any questions. That was a basic brief about, face shields. Hopefully it isn't too complicated.
We'll start with the folks. I see David, go for it.
Yeah, I have one question, because I know I asked about face shields early on. Would you say a face shield is a valid substitute for a mask? Or a sufficient substitute for a mask?
Yeah, I would say it's sufficient. It's better than person wearing nothing.
Okay. Great. So that's what I was checking. I know we have some face shields. The Makery made them for us early on. They made them for the whole community. They were very affordable, and they could certainly get cleaned, and we can have a few of them out there if folks come in.
So, originally, early on, and the reason that I wanted face shields, in order to get around implementing the face shields, because I remember having a conversation, was I require people to wear eyewear. So if you had eyewear, gloves, and face mask, I thought that was good. But now you're noticing a lot of people not wearing any type of eyewear. So a face shield will be a good substitute for people that don't wear anything, over their face. Also, if you have a business, one of the other aspects that I've noticed early on when we was opening different business is that you have a plexiglass. And a lot of workers were not wearing any type of eyewear behind the plexiglass. And then people were actually coming to the business and they were moving around the plexiglass to talk. So it defeats the whole purpose. And having a face shield on sort of protects that. But also if you have, people that are serving individuals and they can't wear masks, it's good for them to have a face shield. So I looked at multiple uses, and I've seen other communities sort of do that. If people have issues with masks, they just have a face shield on. And I don't know if they have an issue with a mask, but they have a face shield on. This level of protection.
Dr. Jett, I saw the messages go out through sort of the usual channels about this change, and the folks that are following those channels are folks who live and sometimes work in Brookline. But a lot of people who shop at our businesses are folks coming from outside of Brookline, and so they wouldn't have got that advance notice about these changes. When someone comes to Brookline and they're expecting to be able to say, I've got a medical condition, either A, because they actually have one, or B, because they're one of those folks that just refuses to wear a mask and wants to use that as an excuse. What is the is there signage coming out, updated signage coming out from the health department? Is the expectation that the business owner or employees would inform them about this new policy? How are we going to let people know about it?
So there is updated signage that is coming out, and good note, because I'll follow up with it today to see where we at on that. But the business community, they can, also help as well once we get the signage together and send it to them and make sure it's posted.
Okay, great. Ann, go ahead. And Meredith, in the meantime, can we promote Roxy to ask her question?
Sure.
Great.
I may have missed something, but is this a new mandate? I mean, is this a requirement now, either a mask or a face shield? Because
So yes, it
till
is.
this morning's conversation, I was totally unaware of that. So it's not just people visiting Raul. I don't know where that was announced, but I spend a lot of time on these kind of meetings and I didn't know about it at all. So it needs some publicity more generally, I think.
Fair enough. Fair enough. Yeah, let's figure out we can work together to get the word out about this. Then, yeah, it's important that people know about this. This was rolled out. Was this earlier in the week, Dr. Jett?
This was rolled out
Last week.
I think it was late last week, Thursday or Friday.
I have to go back to the calendar now. Last Friday,
Yeah.
on the 28th. And so it's been in newspapers and on the news as well. But we can continue to get the messaging out. So, but yeah, I think I did a total of 10 interviews, and then it's in all the local newspapers.
All right. We'll try to let folks know through the select board and through other meetings like this for sure. All right, Roxy.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. Raul, great shirt. Thanks. For repping. And yeah, so my question, Dr. Jett, was about kind of arts instruction or enrichment programs as we head into the school year. We had very successful, following of regulations to run a summer program. So I just wasn't sure if we had been approved for that, if it meant if we continued conditions, we could also replicate some programs moving forward. Again, very small groups following distancing, et cetera. Or if there's a different kind of set of regulations that we should review regarding, after school or school year operations.
So I guess the question is, have you submitted a plan?
Not at this point. The program isn't designed yet. So this is just asking about options. Like usually we don't run programs like this in the fall,
Right.
But we had approval to run a very small group one in the summer.
Yeah, so, and the governor's order, which was amended last week, some of the normal programming that only runs in the summer have been extended through the fall due to COVID. So if you have a particular program and you want me to look at it, please send it forward and I can provide you some suggestions.
Great.
All right, great. We're about to hit 9:15. I don't see any other questions in the Q&A. Dr. Jett, thanks for being with us. And I'm sure folks can reach out to the health department if they have more questions, right?
Yes, they can.
All right, great. We'll make sure we do that.
All right.
Appreciate your updates. Have a great day, sir.
All right, thank you.
All right, take care. All right, I want to pass it off now to Debbie Goodmiller, who's got some updates from the chamber.
Hi, everybody. It's good to see all of your faces. Couple of things. One, in collaboration with CCMA and also because Beverly Chamber of Commerce had a wonderful survey that we borrowed with permission, of course, we sent a survey throughout Brookline asking people what their comfort level was in terms of going out into businesses. And we hope that this survey would better inform business people about what the expectations are in the community. In the beginning, we didn't get much of a bump, but we were fortunate to get over 600 participants, and we think this is pretty significant. I want to share some of our findings with you. I also want to thank David Lachinsky especially for encouraging this. First of all, there were 604 respondents as of today. We haven't closed it yet. But I think it's really important to see that most of the people who participated, a vast majority, like, I would say 90%, were within the zip codes of Brookline. So the age range, I think, is one of the most important pieces of this. There were over 50% of the people who are over 50. And then also 21% who are between 41 and 50 years. And this is significant because I think this does skew the answers quite a bit. I don't think we're hearing from a lot of the college age kids that just arrived. And I think that's important to keep in mind. This question was, how many times per week do you go out of the house for errands, including restaurant and grocery pickup? And 56.8% said 1 to 3 times, and about 25% said 4 to 6 times. So that's not a whole lot. Do you have any physical challenges? Most of the people do not. Would having a COVID vaccine available be a major factor for you in your return to pre-COVID habits? And 90%, of course, said yes. Have you physically visited or shopped at local businesses during the stay-at-home order? If yes, generally which one? And then we do get into more specific answers, but it's important that, most of course said yes. And then we've got more specific answers. As the state reopens, businesses must adhere to the governor's mandatory business protocol, but beyond what is expected, what steps can businesses take? Now, you'll see here that people are asking, and again in these questions, people really like that there's lots of signage. They like that people wear masks. They like that they can see touchless transactions, that there's good airflow, sanitizers. They want to be sure that they're going to be safe. And I think our businesses have tried very hard to adhere to these protocols. Are you willing to comply with additional health, hygiene, and cleanliness protocols? And again, people are happy to do that. We asked about if timed reservations or appointments are important to people, and how much time in between customers is reasonable or comfortable. And I would say, 46% said 15 minutes, 15-minute intervals is comfortable. And again, we're talking about people who are, 50% of these people are on the older range, not in their 20s, but there are some of those recipients as well. How likely are you, once able, how likely are you to dine out? There's some reservation here. Some people say perhaps, 43% say perhaps, 32% say not likely. I think given what's happening in the restaurants right now at the outdoor option, it looks like a lot of people are taking advantage of that. Do you feel comfortable shopping and dining if the experience is outside or curbside? And 85% said yes. You still order takeout even if you can dine out? And 88% said yes. Have you increased your online shopping experience? And people have increased their online shopping experiences, and I'll show you some individual remarks that people made, because people are very happy with their experiences in Brookline, but those who are reluctant to go into businesses, some are trying very hard to shop online at those businesses, while others just find it more convenient to shop at Amazon. Have your habits changed for good? No, 53%, yes, 26%. What businesses are you looking forward to going back to? Certainly restaurants, doctors, retail stores, theater, ring tie. How comfortable are you gathering with business associates or friends? So the answer, comfortable if everyone is wearing a mask and social distancing, 63%. And then some of the details here were interesting. And I don't want to get into too much detail, but some of these might be interesting to you. I feel safer in places that are not crowded and are enforcing social distancing. The Olive Connection asks customers to use hand sanitizer when they arrive, which is a good sign that they take safety seriously. They like the touchless transactions. Some are remarking about the seating in restaurants. They feel most comfortable when the tables are far apart. And again, some people are remarking about their comfort level, whether people are wearing masks, not wearing masks. I've been trying to think about how to make this available to businesses in a way so that you can go through this and see some of these answers yourself. It's nothing that's alarming, or there aren't any responses I've found to be a surprise. I think people are just very cautious. One thing that came to mind after going through all of these different answers and hearing people's responses, and very thoughtful responses too, is that we really need to find interesting and easy, streamlined ways for people to shop online. If people aren't comfortable going out into stores, our stores still need to thrive. And the only way that's going to happen at this time until a vaccine comes out is for them to be able to go online. And they're not in the habit necessarily of shopping at our stores online. So that's another challenge for us, to try to figure out how we're going to make it fun and easy and interesting for them to go online. Any questions?
Any questions from the panel? And by the way, if anyone else has questions, please put them in the Q&A there. Yeah, that's helpful. I'll just say that I think the to echo what Dr. Jett said earlier about the way that many restaurants have really been able to adapt. I've been really impressed by it. It also is showing us what's possible in the future in Brookline, being able to, for many of these restaurants, to expand their capacity when folks do feel comfortable being indoors and having, during the warmer weather months, outdoor seating as well. But also, really thinking, making our restaurants and other businesses even cleaner, even safer places to be in during normal times, during flu season and during other times as well. So it's great that that even in the midst of all this craziness, we're also able to make some improvements that I hope will stick with us, and that'll make people feel even more comfortable to come shop and work here.
That's a good point.
Debbie, did you want to talk about the upcoming warrant article panel?
Yes, so this is very exciting. Some of you may remember back in March, the week that everything shut down, that very week, we were supposed to have a panel at Town Hall to be able to share all the different warrant articles that were coming out and get some feedback from people. And that got canceled, of course. So we're going to do it again, only this time online. Our tentative date for that is going to be Wednesday, September 23rd from 9 to 10. And Ann Myers has graciously agreed to facilitate that once again. And we'll have more information as we firm things up.
And did someone, either maybe Ann or Raul, want to give a quick crash course in Brookline town governance for anyone on the call who's new to the way we do things?
Ooh, Ann, go for it.
Do you mean now or at this Warren article thing?
Just to give Debbie's comments a little bit more context.
Yeah, and I don't know the actual schedule, but I believe is today the day that Brookline's governed by a town meeting for starters, which is 200 some odd elected people. And the town meeting warrant is submitted. Any 10 people can sign a proposed warrant article. And those are due today for town meeting. Debbie's talking about a number of articles that were held over because the Springtown meeting was they tried to make it as short as possible because it was the first time town meeting was online. So there were a lot of holdovers, and then I assume that there are a number of new ones that may impact the business, that the business community might be interested in hearing about and learning more about. I have no idea what those are. I don't know if Cara or Meredith have seen any. So the purpose of this, as I understand it, this session that Debbie's hosting is for people in the business community to learn about these warrant articles, figure out the pros and cons, and hear people from both sides, assuming there are cons, which there sometimes are not. And then so the people can decide whether they want to spend time either following it through the process or working on it through the process. The process is often, depending on the nature of the article, they would come to places like the Planning Board or the Economic Development Advisory Board, other boards where we'd have public hearings, and everything also goes to the Advisory Committee, which is the town's finance board. And there are subcommittees, there would be subcommittee meetings for that and public hearings, and then it goes to the full advisory board, which is just an advisory board, but they take votes and they have an opinion on the matter, which they then present to town meeting. The select board does the same for, I believe, all the warrant articles, including public hearings, and they take a position, and all of those are then publicized and at town meeting, which is, I don't know what the dates are, sometime in November. So this all takes place, and it's a lot of process between next week essentially and November. Does anybody know what the date is? I don't know.
19th is in my head right now, but
before Thanksgiving. Mm-hmm. So it's a lot going on in the next 2 months.
And I'll just add that as part of that process that Ann just outlined, the Small Business Development Committee will decide whether or not it wants to weigh in on any of these warrant articles. If it does, if we do, then we would hold a public hearing. We would dialogue about those warrant articles, and then vote either favorable action or no action on those warrant articles. And that process will play itself out over the next couple months.
Yes, thank you. I forgot that.
No, that's great. All right. So once again, I think the date I heard on that was Wednesday, September 23rd from 9 to 10 a.m. And I'm sure information will go out through the chamber listserv and other channels, right? All right. Debbie says yes. All right. So I'll throw it over to Meredith for any Q&A we have and any other updates and announcements.
Excellent. So there was a question earlier from Ben. Oh, yep. And then I saw actually it was a question for Dr. Jett, but then Wendy Mockmuller, who works in the public health department, has signed off. Wendy, do you just want to answer Ben's question about if there are any COVID testing sites in Brookline?
Oh, yeah. Hi, this is Wendy. There is a site on Partners Urgent Care on Beacon Street by Trader Joe's. Yeah, but you do have to have a referral. There's no designated site for employees in Brookline. But I put a link on there too. There's a really cool interactive map that shows all the sites in Massachusetts, and that is constantly being updated by the state. And there's some free testing sites, and there's others that are not, but it gives you all the information there. I would take a look at that.
Great, thank you. I'm gonna pop that link into the chat box just so other people can reference it.
And you know what, also real quick, so he's looking at, it hasn't been publicized yet. I'm not sure if it's going forward, but he is looking at a one-day testing site in Brookline, but all the logistics are still being worked out. So stay tuned. We'll publicize it, obviously, if that's going to happen.
Great. Thank you, Wendy. All right. So question from Roxy, which I don't have the answer to, but Kara might know. The question is, construction question, what is under development at the old Patty Plumbing building on Station Street? It's a huge renovation, or it's a huge gut renovation.
I do not know for certain, but my recollection is a daycare, but we can get back to you on that.
Okay, I'll come back to Liz Linder's question. Hugo over at Brookline Pizza Spa, is there any news on a proposal, the proposal for Harvard Street traffic pattern? Okay, so some context to this question. One of the town's transportation board members had come across an idea that I guess has been implemented in a few other communities about creating some sort of like a one-way traffic loop pattern in order to allow restaurants to expand their outdoor seating even farther. There are a lot of restaurants who now have outdoor seating in the parking lane, but the one-way traffic pattern would allow them to increase that. And so the transportation administrator for the town was just curious to see if this was an idea that the business community would be receptive to in Brookline Village. And the Brookline Village Business Association was kind enough to forward that out to their listserv. So as far as I know, we don't have any concrete plans about moving forward. I think we're still gathering feedback. There seemed to be a split. I got a lot of phone calls and was copied on some responses to the group where retail service businesses are very concerned about that particular traffic pattern, eliminating more parking spaces and creating some confusion, which they are concerned would hurt their businesses, which are also suffering. So we are still working through the proposal. We will certainly come to the BVBA with any updates or if it's moving forward. And in the meantime, if you have questions or concerns, you can feel free to reach out to me or Todd Corain. But you can start with me and then maybe I'll put you in touch with Todd. All right, Liz Linder. Liz, if you're available, do you want to ask your question live? Putting people on the spot.
Oh, okay. No, I see. Hello, hello.
Hello, good morning.
Hi, good morning. Yeah, so it occurs to me that a little from my own experience in watching people when I'm, saying, hey, get that at this place in Brookline, that Amazon makes it so easy and people are creatures of habit. And but at the same time, I think everybody would agree that we want to support the businesses here in Brookline. And is there a way to make it easier for some of the businesses that cannot figure out how to get themselves on a user-friendly online platform? It takes time and investment to do that. And that's the last thing that a lot of business owners have right now. And then it occurred to me, could we do some kind of townwide platform? Is there a way to develop, or is there funding, or could there be funding, could funding be generated to develop an online platform that businesses pay into to be a part of? I'm just kind of thinking this off the top of my feet, that has marketing around, the Brookline business community, and maybe a little bit more for the businesses that pay a little bit more. And that platform is one on which, either retail could sell their wares, or practitioners could offer their services, or restaurants could, do delivery and takeout. And there could be you know, it could be very Brookline centric, like in the branding and the way it's put together, and maybe, you know, high school students deliver products or meals to people, and maybe there's a way that they do it. Anyway, it would, we need a team to build it out, and some kind of, I don't know what the process of approval for that is, but I think that a lot of businesses aren't going to be able to get to ease and online platforms on their own, is what I'm saying, and a collective effort would be interesting. It would almost brand the town.
Yeah, thank you, Liz. I know it looks like Debbie Miller from the Chamber definitely wants to jump in, because I know the Chamber has some features that speak to the idea that you're talking about. And what you're talking about is with how do we help encourage people to shop Brookline online.
But also make it, you know, there's got to be a platform, like Amazon makes it so easy to buy from them. I know that there are some stores that are taking the time and energy and resources to build a more robust online platform, but most small businesses probably don't have the wherewithal to do that with ease, you know? So is there a way, I don't know, is there like a Brookline Amazon kind of thing that we could build that wouldn't be, I recognize that's a little bit crazy talk, but is, you know, besides marketing for businesses, like the Chamber is almost its own entity. Is there a way that, you know, the Chamber could be more visible to these businesses, could be more visible to the public who's purchasing things?
Yes. Debbie?
Maybe it's under the Chamber, but is there a way just to make it easy for someone who wants to buy from Brookline Business versus Amazon to just go on this platform? And not only, it's like, you know, I remember this conversation where, you know, you're going to a restaurant and you're maybe going to another store to pick something up. So maybe there could be an online platform where if you're picking up something from the Booksmith, you're also noticing, and maybe it ties into some of these stores independent. I mean, this is like a longer term project, but it seems to be the future, you know, like if you're in this platform going for one reason, maybe you're noticing another reason to be there and supporting another business instead of going to Amazon.
Sure, definitely. Debbie, do you want to talk about some of the Chamber features that speak to what Liz is talking about?
Yes, Liz, thank you. You're a great advertisement for what we're trying to do right now. We feel the exact same way, the Chamber. We're looking into platforms that would shine a light on every business in town, not just the Chamber businesses, but every business in town. So it's just like one-stop shopping. So, you know, ordinarily before COVID, people would walk down the street and, you know, pick up groceries and a puzzle and some flowers and buy a ticket to a movie, and they don't do that anymore so much. So we're looking into platforms. In fact, yesterday, I saw a platform that's 3D. It's almost like an exhibition where you walk into the exhibition and you could set up stores and you shop at any store that you go into. It has AI incorporated into it. It's very clever. And I've got to believe there are a lot of other systems out there like it. It's not the only one. We just started exploring this, but we definitely want to do that. We want to have a one-stop shop where people can go in Brookline and go online and make it easy like Amazon, and they would have the satisfaction of knowing that they're investing in their town. So we're definitely looking into that. I'm happy to bring you into the loop, however you want to be involved. We also are going to be having a workshop with a BU professor who teaches branding. And it's going to be a collaborative workshop where we all get together online and talk about ways that we can benefit the entire community and do exactly what you're talking about. So plans are definitely underway to do exactly what you're thinking. I think that's definitely the direction to go.
And so the Chamber is definitely working on that. The Chamber is also represented on the Small Business Development Committee, who talked a lot about how do we support businesses trying to improve or create a virtual sales platform and enhance their online presence. So this is definitely something that I think is at the top of everyone's mind right now. And the Small Business Development Committee, especially since we've been hosting these meetings since March, hasn't been meeting regularly itself just to discuss things and move initiatives forward. But I think the committee is starting to get back into the groove. And so we're hoping to have another meeting at some point in September. So if you want to keep an eye out for those agendas to see what people will be discussing, There's also public comment period included at the beginning of every meeting as well. So if people have ideas, that's definitely one forum in which that you can present those, and we can explore that more. Okay. All right, so we're not seeing any other questions. Do people have any other questions or important updates that they want to share with the rest of the business community? All right, well, I will hand it back to Raul then.
Yeah, thanks everybody for being with us. We'll be back on October 1st. You know, it is as Debbie and Ann and Meredith mentioned earlier, warrant article season. So do keep an eye out for not just warrant articles that maybe impact the business community, but those that impact our entire community. And there's plenty of opportunities through public hearings, public comment at all these various boards and commissions, including the select board, to weigh in. And we really do want to hear what members of the community think. So please keep an eye out for those. We'll make sure that we communicate more efficiently, more effectively what's going on, and keep an eye out on news sources as well. This is going to be a big one. Last November, we had, I think, a 6-night town meeting. We may actually end up breaking that this time around. We'll see. There's a lot of new changes being proposed. So just encouraging people to stay abreast of what's happening in town and ask questions. Go ahead, Ann.
Just, is the November town meeting going to be virtual as well? Has that been decided?
I think that's the plan at this point. Yeah, we have the ability to do it, and the idea of trying to do this in person right now is just,
okay.
I can't even imagine. Yeah. So the one good thing about it being virtual is attendance was better than ever, and people sticking around to the very end of our meetings in the past was better than ever on the virtual format. It simply works better for, you know, working people with kids, you name it. And so hopefully we'll be able to retain at least some of this going forward. So anyway, thanks a lot, everybody. We'll see you back here on October 1st, and let us know if you need anything in the meantime.
Bye. Have a good day.
Take it easy, y'all.